At 5 Eyewitness News, you told us that fraud and wasted money are important to you, and that's why we're going after it. I'm Kevin Dorn, and every day 5 Eyewitness News is following the money in your neighborhood, asking the tough questions, looking out for you, and uncovering fraud with your tax dollars. We're listening, and we're working hard to protect your money. Watch and see the difference on 5 Eyewitness News.
Just a heads up to you folks sitting with a notebook and pen, Mishki, the new podcast here in Garage Logic Land, is now coming out twice a week, Wednesdays and Fridays. If you're in fact scribbling this down, Wednesday is kind of tough to spell. It's not like it sounds. You want to spell it W-E-N-Z, but that, of course, would be a mistake. Friday is spelled just like it sounds. You're going to be okay there, but Wednesday's a bugaboo. Let me tell you, people, just a pain in the patootie. Jeez, it's hard.
Last time I water skied.
Josh Arnold, investment consultant, brings you Garage Logic Podcast number 1648. October's flying by. This is October 28. 75 degrees, the record high on this day. That was in 1948. And it was as chilly as 17 degrees on two occasions, 1905 and 1925. Do yourself a favor, why don't you? Call Josh Arnold at 952-925-5608. It's free, a free 48-minute consultation.
Hail the flashlight king.
And now, from the mayor's office above the boathouse on the east shore of Spoon Lake, it's Garage Logic with Chris Reavers manning Technology Corner, Kenny Olson from the Krabby Coffee Shop, John Haidt in the newsroom, and of course, the rookie. Here is your flashlight king, fireworks commissioner, and the keeper of common sense, your mayor, Joe Soucheray.
I would like to say on behalf of motherhood and apple pie and Chevrolet and the great American flag that was one of the best World Series games in recent memory last night. It went 18 innings.
You make her all the way?
I did not.
Holy balls.
I made it to 15. And I just thought it was a splendid, splendid game. It was wonderful.
I can't get over my hatred of the Dodgers.
Well, that was easy to forget last night because the Dodgers were no different than the Blue Jays until they weren't.
What's the difference in payroll?
Not that bad because the Blue Jays are not a cheap club.
No, that's not a topic here.
Okay.
Payroll is not a topic.
But it is in the sense, Kenny, of the imbalance of the league. Is what I'm saying.
Chris.
Can't I just say what I said and just enjoy the moment?
Yeah, just baseball.
It was just
on the field.
And baseball. Sandy Koufax was in the stands. He looked great. It was just a wonderful, wonderful game with all weird strategy. The bases were loaded, and Toronto loaded the bases in the 12th. Of course, they they walked Ohtani 3 times rather than pitch to him, at least 3 times. 4 times.
4 were intentional. He was walked 5 times, but 4 were intentional.
They loaded the bases with 2 outs and then got the out. It was wonderful.
Chris, I'm going to educate
why do you know that?
I'm going to educate you right now, Chris.
All right.
That Ohtani kid, that dude.
Yeah.
Best baseball player to ever walk this earth.
I couldn't agree more.
Well, they send out Japanese pitcher after Japanese pitcher who are all wonderful.
It's nice to have a AAA club that's in Japan.
Apparently it is.
Yeah.
Wow. Serious question. Why doesn't the Twins or why don't other clubs?
Oh, now it's that money question.
No, Matt, let me educate you. We brought over a Japanese shortstop a few years ago named Nishioka. And he might have been one of the worst players in the history of baseball.
Rook, it's because when it's international free agency, it's not like the draft. Not every team gets the opportunity to sign that particular player.
I've done my homework. I have the sense winds on the hurricane that's hitting Jamaica as we speak. The news gatherers are often reprehensible people wanting us to believe in the interests of climate change that this is the worst ever. All I can tell you is that we've been observing hurricanes in Jamaica since the 1700s. And I can give them. I won't keep it long. I have the pre-1900 hurricanes. I doubt if anybody's interested in that, but there were dozens and dozens and dozens. Kingston was hit, and it's just endless. 1900 to 1919. We had. I can just pick one here. A hurricane that would eventually strike Texas struck Jamaica at Category 2, 15 people dead. We had a Category 4 in 1916, Category 4 in 1917. That one struck Jamaica. Significant damages of plantations, no communications.
How long have we been keeping records?
Dead since the 1700s. 1920 to 1939, a bunch of Category 1s. 1940 to 1969, just a bunch of ones that hammered the hell out of them. 1970 to 1999, 3-day period for Tropical Storm Gilda in October of 1973. Mudslides and the whole thing, and I'll end now. My point being that Jamaica has encountered hurricanes throughout time, throughout the history of the world, and they will continue to. The difference is as we proceed into history in the modern era, the reason they're so impactful is that obviously more and more people are there. And the damages become more and more.
I might have a ray of hope here for you.
Mm-hmm.
Hold on, I want to do some math here. You said the 1700s. 1851, 174 years ago, a storm of Category 4 or higher has not made landfall since then. The ray of hope is this AP piece in the Star Tribune. I've perused it a number of times, and I do not see climate change mentioned.
That's wonderful.
It might be alluded to, but it's not out and out mentioned, which I think in 2025 is a ray of hope.
October 22nd, 1726.
Oh, my. Wow.
A hurricane impacted the eastern shores of Jamaica, damaging or sinking 50 ships and ruining homes in Kingston, Port Royal, and Spanish Town.
Pirate ships, Joe.
Wow. October 20, 1744. Wharves in Old Harbor, Passage Fort, and Port Royal were destroyed by a hurricane. In harbors, 104 ships capsized. A newly established fort at Mosquito Point was also destroyed. An epidemic followed the storm, claiming additional lives. It makes for fascinating reading when you do your sense winds, because the storms have visited Mother Earth since Mother Earth was spun into creation. Now, what are the mile per hours of the winds supposed to be? It was upwards of 170. November 2nd, 1874, winds of 105 caused $75,000 in damage. But in 1874, $75,000 was a lot of money. Anyway, you can look it up yourself, but it's a public service performed by the mayor of Garage Logic, who always looks up the sense winds when the news gatherers try to tell us that the Earth is ending.
Don't throw that away.
Right here. Didn't throw it away.
What is the source? Name the source.
I just went to Wikipedia.
Because the first paragraph said, since record keeping began in 1851, but you were back in the early 1700s.
I'm sure what that is just observations that have been passed down through history. I don't think they carry any, I don't think they carry any professionalism. It's what the people wrote down back then and what they saw.
It's like you keeping records of your lilacs. Have you ever been to the island?
I've never been to Jamaica. I've been right there, though, in the Caymans. That's right near there. Rook, you've been to Jamaica.
I've been to Jamaica.
Went to Burger King.
Best Whopper I've ever had.
Right.
Let me guess. You were at an all-inclusive, Matthew.
Actually, no, we bid on it. It was a private place, and it was up a long hill that it was 2 beers to get up that hill. And you just sweated them right out.
Was it free? You finagled it from somebody?
Yes, of course. You know that for sure.
I did an all-inclusive. I enjoyed it a lot.
And when we went up there for the initial arrival, we were to see Tyrone. And let me tell you that when Tyrone came out, he walked with confidence. If you know what I mean.
I think I do.
Yes.
As soon as we pulled into the grill, we found a local, and he babysat us for as long as we were there. Kept everybody else away, attended to all of our needs and concerns.
Kingston, Jamaica. Is that the capital?
That's the capital, yes.
Yep.
Yeah. Is that where you were?
We were in Ocho Rios.
Ocho Rios?
Where all the ships come in.
Oh, boy, I bet it's beautiful.
It was pretty cool.
Well, there won't be anything left of it after today.
That's pretty much it. No, that's the reports.
Say, last night, the mayoral candidates in Minneapolis had a debate. Let me gather my documents here.
Oh, it was a fun one, Joe.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm sorry. I went all America and watched the baseball. I missed it. Was it on TV?
It was hosted by NPR and hold on.
Maybe it was just on the radio.
No, there was because there's video of it. I believe it was NPR and the Star Tribune, I believe.
Sure.
The sound bites today are fantastic.
Well, there are many, but we're having a bit of computer problems, so we want to play you one where what? You won't hear static?
Yes.
I hate to make that announcement. We're still awaiting the placement of a different computer. Variety of questions were asked. Public safety. What about open air drug markets? Buses on Nicollet Mall, minimum wage, local wealth tax. I think what we have is a question about Omar is declaring that he not only dislikes any federal intrusion here regarding immigration, he is calling for the arrest of federal law enforcement officials. And like I said yesterday, who's going to do that? And it became a little heated, and here it is.
Oops.
Starts with Fry.
All right. Hang tight. Cue the talent. And
a commitment was made to direct Minneapolis police to arrest federal agents.
Stop. He's referring to Omar Fateh creating a commitment to arrest federal agents. Okay, here we go.
Agents. That would be dangerous. That would be irresponsible. And my simple question is, how would our police officers do that? How would our police officers arrest federal agents when, simply put, they have much bigger guns and it would be illegal?
And that's part of it.
But we should actually dig in on the answer to this question, because this gets to the crux of the issues that we actually deal with. You committed to arresting federal agents. My simple question is how?
Yeah, well, if there's any federal agent that has a mask on, that should not be allowed in our city.
I agree with that, but how? How do you arrest them?
Well, we can work with our state partners, we can work with our attorney general, we can work with it cross-jurisdictionally, we can work as a city.
But specifically, how would you arrest them?
The reality is,
this would put our neighbors
in
danger.
I can't take this screwball, Fateh. First of all, he speaks quickly, I think by design.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And
that's always been a pet peeve of yours.
It really is. And he continues to reveal himself as completely unacceptable to be the mayor anywhere in this country.
Well, completely unacceptable is a very nice way of putting it.
I'm trying to be a nice guy.
He's a complete idiot.
Yeah.
I mean, that answer right there is obvious that he is brain dead.
Well, plus he doesn't have an answer. Let's play it again. It's hard. It's almost fingernails on a blackboard listening to this guy.
Yeah.
But he has no answer. It's just more BS.
Yeah.
To dig in on the answer to this question, because this gets to the crux of the issues that we actually deal with. You committed to arresting federal agents. My simple question is how?
Yeah, well, if there's any federal agent that has a mask on, that should not be allowed in our city.
I agree with that, but how? How do you arrest them?
Well, we can work with our state partners. We can work with our attorney general. We can work with it cross-jurisdictionally. We can work as a city.
But specifically, how would you arrest them?
The reality is,
this would put our neighbors.
The reality is,
he doesn't answer the question.
Of course not.
He can't answer the question.
He creates confusion in order to dodge the question. Or answer.
He's just dreadful. Now, off air, I don't even remember who asked it among the gathered, but off air, somebody said, maybe it was Kenny, is Fateh a puppet? And I said, of whom? But you do have to wonder. He shows up here 5 years ago, completely unknown, a nobody who has achieved nothing, and he instantly enjoyed a series of well-paying jobs, all in the public sector, and then the next thing you know, he's a state senator. So I'm not suggesting he is a puppet of anything. I'm just suggesting that he has no background in Minneapolis. He has no knowledge of Minnesota. He has no affection for America that I can detect. I think he falls under the rubric of Somalis who love being here but don't love here.
Yeah, don't love this country for sure. Yep.
They love the stuff here, but they have no bleeping idea about how it works, why, when, how, nothing. He views the mayoral position as a situation where he not only will enrich himself, but everyone he can get his hands on who is of his similar mind. Now, it came up later in the debate. We're not going to play that because we don't have the audio for it. Fateh said the city should explore a local income tax on the wealthy. Well, first of all, they're already paying more taxes than anyone else in the city. A local income tax on the wealthy because it's critical that the city not burden working families during a time of skyrocketing grocery prices and sweeping cuts to federal aid. Let me stop right there. Omar, do you realize what would happen to federal aid if you actually went through with your preposterous plan to arrest federal agents? Do you happen to know who the president is? You would have federal aid cut off in a millisecond. You would have nothing coming to Minneapolis. Now he continues. The city council, of course, they are all Democratic socialists, with the exception of maybe one or two. The city council voted in July to study new taxes on the wealthiest residents and businesses. Omar Fateh and his brothers and sisters in crime hold wealth in contempt unless they can get a hold of it.
Well put.
So they would think nothing of stripping the wealthy of all their wealth. Same with the DSA. Same with Chugtai and Wansley and the rest of them. Minneapolis, I don't know if you have time to wake up, but if you don't
by Tuesday.
And ironically, the crime is driving those people away, the people that can make that incredible wealth and pay those taxes.
Mm-hmm. But if you have to work for somebody, Kenny, you're being oppressed.
Unless, like you said, unless we can snatch your money.
Fry said he opposes a city income tax and said the city needs additional revenue sources and should work with the legislature to increase state aid. Davis, that would be Dwayne Davis,
yes,
said he's concerned about levying a city income tax, but wants a larger conversation about other revenue sources. None of them, including Fry, none of them are saying we need a deep, serious concentration about reducing spending in this city. It's always, how are we going to get more money? Same with school boards. How are we going to get more? The school board people that we elect in both cities are of a similar incompetence. They have no history of work. They are all professional activists. I don't think that's hyperbole. We'll get to a school board member here in a moment. But what do the SAPs do? And we're among the SAPs. They keep voting every election for a levy to give them more money because they screwed up the money they were just given in the previous election.
So the city council and the mayor has proven that they can take our money. They can throw out the levies, the fees, the taxes, etc.
You get that little taste on your utility bill.
Yeah, so that's not a pipe dream or a fantasy like arresting federal agents is. That the arresting federal agent, he's repeatedly calling for these fantasy, nonsensical pipe dreams, and then they debate them. And everybody who's listening knows that this is complete bullshit. Why are you talking about this? But in the case of the money, the raising money,
that's a doable deal.
Not only have they done it, but they are continuing to do it.
And Fateh would do that. And he, in a Marxist city council, he would have all the votes he needs.
Yeah. Yep.
The city council seats are terribly important. You need enough people with common sense elected to the city council. They all should be turned out, with the exception of 2 of them. They all should be gone. Chugtai, Wansley, Cashman, all gone. Jeremiah Ellison, gone. They're all gone.
He's not running, and he's been gone for, what, 6 months now?
But getting paid.
Yeah, he's cashing those checks.
Who's the council president?
It was Andrea. Now it's the little...
Isn't it Katie?
No.
Yeah.
No, it's not Katie.
Come on.
It's a guy. Oh, for Pete's sake. Anyway, he should be gone. They should all be replaced, because what's going to be important if Minneapolis makes any kind of recovery at all is you're going to need a city council that would not overcome Fry's vetoes.
Elliot Payne.
Right now, Fry might come up with something that's common sense, and he can't win because they veto it, because they're democratic socialists. And he's not. He sounds like one sometimes, but he's not.
He's not left enough.
He's not left enough for the Marxists that want to run the city.
After hearing the sound bites from last night's debate, I don't think he has a chance. I mean, his stupidity was really put on display.
Who doesn't have a chance? Omar Fateh.
Yeah, Fateh.
But I think, Kenny, the one thing you're missing is the overwhelming number of people that want him in office because they're going to continue to game the system.
Right. They don't care that he's an idiot. He's their idiot.
But, I mean, just Jacob saying that one-word question, how, but put him right up at the top. You have to, if you're in Minneapolis, you have to vote for him.
You would think so. Depends if you want to have your city or not.
I mean, a one-word question, shut that moron down. That's a stupid topic that they shouldn't have been talking about it in the first place.
You can't vote in the Center of the American Experiment Golden Turkey Awards for the waste of city money in Minneapolis. This is a bigger award. This is for the waste of Minnesota state government money. And the Golden Turkey Award nominations are still underway. They'll be underway till this Friday. You too could come up with the winning example of wasteful spending and win the Golden Turkey Award. Go to americanexperiment.org/golden turkey and submit your idea. One person just says Tim Walz. Well, I agree with that one. Okay. That's a waste of money. Met Council Light Rail, the Minnesota Human Services and Education Departments for failure to vet applicants to fraudulent programs. Metro Bus Gold Line. Here's one that just says Tampon Tim. A cognitive failure of Walz, a complete failure of Walz administration. You get the idea. Come up with the best example of wasteful government spending. Submit it to the American Experiment. The winner will be announced right here on Garage Logic in November. In fact, next week, I'll be announcing the finalists, and then those finalists will be voted on. AmericanExperiment.org/Golden Turkey.
Reavers here once again for my guy, Mr. Money Talk, Josh Arnold. Does thinking about retirement make you uncomfortable? Well, sometimes the anxiety from wondering if you've saved enough can be overwhelming. But what if I told you that you could ease those tensions in just 48 minutes? Well, Mr. Money Talk is going to be able to sit down with you and get you on the right track for your financial future. Josh has navigated it all when it comes to uncertain market and economic conditions, and he'll always provide straight talk, never sugar-coated advice on how to reach the finish line with your retirement goals. Don't let your financial worries give you an ulcer or keep you from calling Josh right now. His 48-minute, no-obligation consultation could be just what you need to feel better about your future. Call Josh today at 952-925-5608 and set up your free 48-minute, no-obligation consultation. That's 952-925-5608.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant, LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.
It's the end of the world as we know it, and he feels fine. Joe Souchere.
If you need a delicious cup of coffee at a reasonable price, and frankly, who doesn't? You should go to customroasting.net in Buffalo. Give them a go. They've been a marketing partner here at GL since midsummer, and thanks to Steven, the head roaster, all of us, we've all learned a thing or two about the business of providing a delicious fresh cup of coffee, starting with the beans. Only the finest beans sourced from around the globe go into that state-of-the-art convection roaster. And the head roaster, that's Steven, he uses all of the senses, the eyes, the ears, the nose, throughout the entire roasting process, because every coffee is a little bit different. So he needs to be able to constantly check everything through that process. And then when the peak is achieved, boom, we're done. The coffee goes right into the cooling tray, and shortly thereafter it gets packaged up, and then it's out for delivery. Just that quick. They only roast the coffee they have orders for. That means no shelf life. It does not sit on the shelf at all. A few things that I want you to look for when you go to customroasting.net. First of all, the GL Starter Pack. It's a quick and simple introduction to their variety of flavors. John and I have sampled them all, and actually John and I have sampled most of the flavors at customroasting.net, and we love them. Number two, go to the gift pack. A perfect gift for friends and loved ones, and the easiest way to shop, if you ask me. And then the charity fundraising program at customroasting.net. That can help your organization with everything you need to raise money. I do it every day. John does it every day. We both drink wonderful coffee at a reasonable price from customroasting.net.
We are joined by America's voting guru, Dan McGrath. Hi, Dan.
Hello, Joe. You honor me too much.
You need your own theme song, in fact, like the Lake Detective.
I'd love some kind of fanfare. That'd be awesome.
Dan, is ranked choice voting a positive development for American citizens?
Well, Joe, you've said it many times that we'll rue the loss of the previous official. Mm-hmm. And let me answer your question with a question. When did you come up with that axiom?
When, I suppose, with the election of Melvin Carter in St. Paul. Earlier than that, I began to realize that the people we elect are far worse than their predecessor.
Randy, who was the St. Paul mayor?
When did that trend start, do you think?
Did it start in about 2009 or so with ranked choice voting?
Let's say that that's the case.
Yeah.
That is when ranked choice voting began. Before that, downtown was my playground. I was born and raised in Minneapolis. I've loved this city. I've lived here my whole life. My family's all here. But we've seen, since 2009, a continual decline in the quality of our government. Now, why do we vote?
To improve the quality of our government.
Yes, it's an attempt at getting good government for ourselves.
Right.
I got involved in politics as a matter of self-defense. We want to have the ability to throw the bombs out.
Right.
Right?
Right.
That's why we vote. But ranked choice voting serves the political class. They're the only ones that even know how it works. our average voter isn't playing chess when they go into the polling place.
Right.
Right. You want to cast your ballot. You want to support one person. This is my guy. I'm going to put my vote towards him. But when you use ranked choice voting, you don't really even know who your ballot ends up supporting in the end because the process is so convoluted.
Did the legislature create it and okay it?
The legislature okayed it. They didn't mandate it. They just allowed charter home rule cities to enact it if they want to, like as an experiment. Minneapolis and St. Paul both started doing it around the same time. And I just saw Sharon Sales Belton. Remember her?
Sure.
I just saw her in an ad on a YouTube video the other day, and she was out there campaigning against Fateh.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought of you right away. Like, yeah, we will rue the loss of the previous mayor.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she was nuts when
Right.
she was in office, but she's out there talking sense right now.
Well, do we know the name of the legislator who carried the bill in the House or Senate?
I don't have that. I don't remember.
Is that something that could be found?
I'm sure it could be, yes. I could dig it up for you and email it to you later if you want.
I would love that. Do that at your convenience. In the meantime, so we are justified in sensing that ranked choice voting offers something amiss, something out of tune with what we've been used to in our lives.
Yeah, no question about that. I mean, this is a system that's set up so that experts can game the system. This is entirely for insiders, and it's no benefit to the voters that just want to throw their support behind, the candidate that they prefer.
How can Omar Fateh, for example, benefit from ranked choice voting?
Well, you're kind of flooding the zone with a whole bunch of socialist candidates. So
right.
No matter who comes out on top, it's going to be the ideology that wins.
Right.
But you can put candidates in place that aren't spoilers. And they game the system by saying, like, rank me number 2, vote for me number 1. And nobody knows on the average voter side how that's all going to shake out. But the insiders have done all the statistical analysis, and they know the optimal way to get the person they really want in office to win.
Wow. Do they flood the zone with people who don't have a chance to win in the hopes that Fateh wins?
Well, how many candidates are there for mayor this year? Like 14? So, yes.
There's quite a few, yeah.
It gets a little absurd with the system. Primary will whittle it down to the top 2 most popular candidates, even in a nonpartisan system like Minneapolis has. But then you're confronted with a daunting task. How are you going to research 14 candidates for mayor and know what you're doing when you go to vote?
Can you, in ranked choice voting, I'm allowed to just cast one vote, aren't I?
Well, you can, but if you do that, you're actually diluting the power of your ballot. Some ballots in ranked choice voting have more power than others because they last longer through the process of rounds they go through of counting.
Mm-hmm.
So some voters end up disenfranchised, and you yourself would be. If you cast your vote for just one guy that you like, your ballot probably ends up in the garbage.
Can you vote for the same person 3 times?
No, that would be maybe a better way to do it. I'll have to analyze how that would work out in the end. But no, if you vote for one, you're voting for one, and if your guy doesn't get a majority in the first round of ballots, your ballot is in the trash, and it doesn't count anymore as round after round of subsequent counting happens.
But my guy could get a majority in the first round, depending on my second and third choices.
Well, that's where, yes, if you put in a second and third choice, then your ballot can last longer in the process and have more influence. So this is a system where we're disenfranchising voters if they choose. It's not required to vote for more than one candidate, but if you choose to, you can end up with your ballot not mattering at all.
No, what I meant is, can I make the same person my first, second, and third choice?
You can't.
You cannot do that, all right. Because that would disqualify my vote or just merely dilute it?
It would probably be a spoiled ballot.
Okay.
Because because you marked the ballot incorrectly, so that went out.
I see. I'm reading your email. You emailed me yesterday with your bullet points on this, and it's just horrific. The winning candidate often does not have a true majority because ballots get thrown out as rounds of counting progresses to create the illusion of a majority. Yes,
they're all about the majority. They don't like the plurality system. And you did mention the difference between majority and plurality yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
It's fairly simple. Plurality is the most votes of all the votes for candidates, and a majority would be 50 plus 1%.
Right.
So
I favor majority.
Well, plurality is how we do it normally. If you have three candidates and one gets 45% of the vote and one gets 35 and then 25, the one that gets 45 is going to be the victor, even though he doesn't have an actual majority.
Okay, I mean, I favor plurality then.
Plurality,
all
yeah.
Right.
So they try to create a false majority with ranked choice voting so that at the end of all the ballots that are still left in the system after they've thrown a ton of them away, the majority of the remaining ballots all go for one candidate, and they say, well, that candidate has a majority. But if we were using a plurality system, he might have only had 30% of the vote.
The insiders could game this, but only through means that they understand. I'm not going to figure it out. Is that a safe assumption?
I can barely wrap my head around it, Joe, and I'm kind of in this industry. Really, the Minnesota Voters Alliance that I'm doing consulting and communications for on occasion was founded by Andy Selick in 2004 specifically to fight this. He is the expert on this subject. If you want to really dig deep into it, I'd recommend you talk to Andy.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think Minneapolis and to a certain degree St. Paul are facing the most important elections in history. And I at this particular moment, this being a week from today, this will happen, I have no idea what to expect.
You don't have a prediction?
I think given the ability of the insiders, and clearly the insiders of Minneapolis are the DSA, my prediction would be they're going to figure out a way to elect Fateh.
I think you're right, and it frightens me.
I'm going to go against both of you. And
I hope
say
Kenny's right.
Jacob gets it.
Because, Kenny, you think there'll be an awakening of some sort? That
I think if enough people hear what was said at that debate last night and just how blatantly ignorant he is, that the voters will come through and realize
Well, he does
happening.
have to answer. He does have to answer his questions. Go ahead, Dan.
Guys, the problem is Minneapolis, we have way more common sense conservative people in Minneapolis than actually turn out to the polling place.
Yeah.
The people that turn out to vote are the political class, the people that are invested in the system, and they're going to go for the socialists, I'm afraid. I hope I'm wrong. Kenny, I hope you're right. I really do. I live here still.
Yeah, I'm lucky. I admit I'm lucky, Dan.
Yeah.
Dan, we'll be in touch again probably this week as more developments make themselves known to us.
At your disposal, sir.
Thank you very much. I wish Dan had his theme song because he's like we have a lake detective and we have a voting detective.
I've got it. I think this could be Dan's theme song.
All right.
Over? Did you say over?
Could be it. Dan McGrath is very knowledgeable about this. And if you read his bullet points, you'd even be more despondent.
Joe.
The system encourages people to vote for candidates they don't actually support or even know anything about, and those uninformed votes can count towards the win for the fringe candidate.
That's why I'll be wrong come election day next week, because of that reason right there.
And the confusing process makes the results less transparent. Hardly anyone can make sense of the results afterwards by looking at the data. So it's hard to audit and also more complicated to do a recount. A couple of years ago, the wrong candidate was certified in a California ranked choice voting election, and it took months to unravel it.
Yep. Got her.
Play it. How long does it take you to get Omar and Fry back on the air? Play it again. I mean, is this the babbling person you want?
And a commitment was made to direct Minneapolis police to arrest federal agents. That would be dangerous. That would be irresponsible. And my simple question is, how would our police officers do that? How would our police officers arrest federal agents when, simply put, they have much bigger guns and it would be illegal?
And that's part of it.
But we should actually dig in on the answer to this question, because this gets to the crux of the issues that we actually deal with. You committed to arresting federal agents. My simple question is how?
Yeah, well, if there's any federal agent that has a mask on, that should not be allowed in our city.
I agree with that, but how? How do you arrest them?
Well, we can work with our state partners. We can work with our attorney general. We can work with it cross-jurisdictionally. We can work as a city.
But specifically, how would you arrest them?
The reality is,
this would put our neighbors.
The reality is.
See, my first instinct, if I was Jacob, would be to not answer that. But I think Jacob did the right thing by entertaining that question, because he really made Fateh look stupid.
And
just by entertaining that stupid.
Yeah, but boys, has a darkness descended on us? Is it a fait accompli? Have the skids been greased here?
Well, like I said, there's too many people.
I don't know how many metaphors I can keep coming up with.
There's too many people that want everything that Omar Fateh stands for. That's the problem.
I don't believe a word Omar Fateh says.
Me either.
Not one single word. I would love to believe a word he says. I can't. There's nothing. There's no substance there. There's nothing.
He's a professional grifter.
If you're a Democrat, Joe, in Minneapolis, not a conservative, not a Republican, if you're a Democrat, what has Jacob Fry done to make you mad, to make you turn to Omar Fateh? Name one thing. Maybe
support of the police.
Yeah, the police and the response to the riots. Other than that, what?
Well, in other words,
why would you turn on Jacob Fry now if you're a DFL or a Democrat, not a Democratic Socialist?
I don't think they will. I don't think conventional DFLers will turn on Fry. I think what we're experiencing is an increasing number of people who aren't DFLers.
Who are the socialists.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think they outnumber the regular DFL crowd. I really do.
Yeah, the DSA would like you to believe that we're not that significant. We don't have the numbers. I think they do in Minneapolis.
Yep.
They got the city council seats.
And we discovered from Dan, a week ago, how many are here illegally that are able to cast a ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you guys come from a dark, dark part. Oof.
Well, we'll find out a week from now.
But unfortunately, it will affect the entire state.
The entire state. Yep.
You know what I'm curious about? The younger voters. What's the kid in the room say?
Well, the kid ain't voting for Fateh, because if he does, he's out of here today.
Well, I think that it's kind of unfair for me to have an opinion, because I think I'm kind of on the minority of people that will listen to what is actually happening. Like that thing that you played right there, how many people have actually listened to that?
Right.
And how many people would hear his answer and realize, wait, this is an issue? I think what we're seeing and what we're experiencing is a lack of education at a widespread scale and a lack of people that just don't care anymore.
That's right.
And they're just seeing on their Instagrams and on their Facebook, this is what I should believe. This is what my friends are believing. So I'm going to go there and that's what I'm going to believe, instead of actually trying to form their own opinion, which is what we did in the past.
Because what's playing out here is playing out in New York City with Mom Donnie. It's the exact same thing. It's just on a much bigger scale.
Yeah.
Because of a population standpoint. Yep.
And I don't know how you reverse that.
You don't.
And the people who do hear it, it will not impact their decision. the diehards can hear that all day long.
Right, and they're still not going to change
because they already know that Fateh's an idiot, but he's their idiot, and they want him because that they don't want to work, they don't want to compete, they want to bleed others for their own good, and Fateh is their guy. Fry comes right out and says, "I don't want a wealth tax in this city." That's tantamount to him saying, I know what the wealthy pay. They already pay quite a bit.
And Omar Fateh in that debate was the only one that supported a $20 an hour minimum
that's
wage.
Right. The $20 an hour. I meant to refer to that. Also in the debate last night, Fateh is the only candidate who committed to pushing for a $20 citywide minimum wage by 2028. The other three candidates oppose it. Fateh said without the boost, people will just need to get more government programs to get by. Well,
no,
because
Omar,
he doesn't understand capitalism.
That's not how that works, Omar.
Fry said you can't commit to this without the necessary engagement, noting he was part of getting Minneapolis to the current $15 million. Well, they're both hookers. It's just Fry charges less.
It's a good way to look at it, yeah.
Does Fateh believe that a $20 minimum wage is a wage that is acceptable to you for the rest of your life? To me, let me give you some perspective. To me, when I don't know what it was when I was making it, but my goal was to not be making it for very long. You know what I mean? I just needed a job. Pay me until I find a real job paying real money.
Antique ideology if you're a democratic socialist.
It is.
That doesn't work. And plus the question that none of the people who favor minimum wage either will answer or even understand is, well, wait a minute, you're making it 20. Why don't you make it 38?
Why stop there?
Why isn't it $40?
Well, pretty soon you're going to be making traffic reporter wages.
Right, that's
now
right.
I'm going to be angry.
Right. That's truly amazing that the it's the end of the season sale right now at EcoFun Motorsports in Forest Lake, Highway 97, just west of the Interstate 35. End of the season sale on all e-bikes. EcoFun is the electric bike capital of the world, but also scooters, motorcycles, side-by-sides, 4x4s, youth recreational equipment. Fall riding is here. Get your ATV or side-by-side now in time for fall hunting season and winter plowing. Yamaha and Kawasaki models in stock, ready to go out and ride. And I guarantee you, if there's anything left of that building that would float, you can get it. I wouldn't even be playing that. If there's anything left in that building that can float, that's on sale too. And if there's anything in there that floats, you can haul it out of there on a Triton trailer. It's $1,000 value that will be free. It is a wonderful, wonderful recreation outlet. They're taking calls now on your winter storage of your stuff, so give them a call. EcoFun Motorsports on Highway 97, just west of 35, and down in Burnsville on the Service Road of Life, and a great website with all the info, the phone numbers, and pictures to make you go crazy. EcoFunMotorsports.com.
She said she automated.
Here's a man who spends hours in hardware stores, sifting through the nuts and bolts of life. Joe Souchere.
Awaken180weightloss.com. That's 180, by the way. And you know what? I've been on the program for a couple of weeks now, and it's really done a great job of just increasing your energy. It's a different program, and you know what? You'll find that difference when you go online to awaken180weightloss.com. It's the proven weight loss program that's absolutely built for anyone. There's no medications. There's no workouts required. There's no fasting. You eat to lose weight. And it's a solution that's worked for over 800,000 people, revolutionizing the weight loss industry. Here's how it works. You get a clear daily plan. There's no complicated tracking or counting or any of that stuff. You get one-on-one weekly coaching. My gal's Emma. Check in with her every Wednesday morning, and she's there for me for accountability and also adjustments. And your coach can even help pick out restaurant menu items. It's the at-home program, available and easy to track and stay on track anywhere through a really neat app that you download on your phone. It's built for any lifestyle, busy schedules, likes, dislikes. It's adapted to you. You still get to go on vacation vacation. You can still go out. You can still tailgate. You can still have drinks and still stay on your plan. So check it out for yourself. Go online to awaken180weightloss.com, or you can call them directly at 844-346-1800. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
I'm in touch right now with Jacob Hill. He's the executive director of a group called All of Minneapolis. And to his credit, he called me back today the minute Karen Birkeland said he would, but of course my phone was on silent.
As you instructed a rookie and I to do.
Right.
We can call him in 5 minutes.
Okay.
We just finished this text.
Got it.
Okay.
What was the phrase we learned last week, Matthew? I quizzed you.
It was...
Joe used it, and I think it's apropos in this instance.
Obstinate?
No, it was
a little more difficult than that.
2 or 3 word phrase where you're a victim of your own success.
Hoisted on your own petard.
Your own petard.
That's it.
That's what it was.
Say Minneapolis, among your many problems, it's no different in St. Paul. You've got a school board member who does not believe in borders. Her name is Adriana Cerrillo. She also stated that she received a much better education in Mexico, and that she is not comfortable in neighborhoods that are predominantly white. Okay, you sound like a great school board member. A Minneapolis school board director has also called the Trump administration white supremacist while saying white neighborhoods make her uncomfortable. She has repeatedly written on social media that she and her family are at risk of being deported. I don't know why that would be.
Well, is she here legally?
In 2020, Adriana Cerrillo was elected as the first Mexican immigrant to serve as director on the Board of Education. She represents District 4, was reelected in 2024. To qualify for election to your local school board, you must be an eligible voter, meaning a legal registered voter under state law. The Minnesota Secretary of State's office further clarifies that only citizens of the United States are eligible to vote in elections. In an article for the Minneapolis, this is from Alpha News, the Minneapolis Interview Project, Cerrillo wrote that she was born and raised in Mexico and crossed the border into Texas with her mom when she was 15. She was an undocumented student in Texas in the 80s. She has written later about becoming a mother, referring to herself as a single, undocumented mother. I don't believe in borders, she said. I don't believe in countries. I don't believe in flags that separate us as humans. So she's a global citizen.
Okay.
To whom does she answer? A 2020 Sahan Journal article said Cerrillo had to navigate the experience of being an undocumented high school student and that several of my family members have self-deported. So it sounds like she's here illegally. She said she described herself as previously undocumented and once deported. Alpha News has reached out to her by email and phone for clarification on her current immigration status and if she is still eligible to serve under state guidelines that require citizenship, to ask why she allegedly stated that she is at risk of being deported. Of course, she has not given a response. Alpha News, that this is what the Star Tribune should be doing, but they don't. Alpha News, tip of the hat. Alpha News also contacted Minneapolis Public Schools regarding Cerrillo's eligibility. A district spokesperson responded, Minneapolis Public Schools contracts with the City of Minneapolis Elections and Voter Services officers to administer school board elections, including candidate filings. In other words, they didn't answer. Alpha News also reached out to U.S. Immigration and Customs regarding Cerrillo. An agency spokesperson issued a vague response saying, we have no reason for ICE to investigate her. All right. Cerrillo recently drew attention from social media account Libs of TikTok, which posted her comments and tagged the Department of Homeland Security. Cerrillo, Trump's white supremacist administration. Okay. Alpha News reported earlier this year that Cerrillo posted a profanity-laced rant against Trump and his efforts to deport illegal immigrants. Shortly after the school board voted to reaffirm a 2016 resolution pledging not to collect or share information about the immigration status of students or their families with ICE. So not only is the whole city leaning towards the Fateh ideology of we don't want anything to do with it, the schools have already also created a pledge where we don't want it. We're protecting our illegals. We must stay united against the white supremacist administration, Cerrillo said. All right.
She doesn't have anybody close to her, Joe, that'll tell her, shh, just stop talking.
She's not comfortable in white neighborhoods.
Now, that's what doesn't make sense to me.
Well, and she also said she received a much better education in Mexico than in the U.S. Why in the hell doesn't she go back to Mexico then?
If she's not comfortable in white neighborhoods, how does that make her a global citizen of the world with no countries and no borders? I would assume she would be comfortable anywhere she lands, anywhere she hangs her hat.
She's another failed academy victim of the corruption of ideology. She's meaningless. She is no help to the average student in Minneapolis. She shouldn't be serving on the school board. She doesn't believe in countries, borders, or flags. She's terribly self-important. And it's just a shit. But this is what school boards have, and the voters are always asked to go to the polls and vote them more money. This is the kind of people you trust to create a school board budget. They're not capable of doing that.
She's so absurd to me that she almost seems like a Russian bot that works on the internet and on social media to encourage strife and dissent. I mean, everything she said was absurd.
I've never heard of her before. This is just an Alpha piece that caught my eye today, and I just thought, well, geez, lady, you're kind of a weird school board member. You don't like white people. You don't believe in countries, borders, or flags.
And those two things work against each other.
You think Trump's a white supremacist. You think white people are white supremacists. You don't like white neighborhoods. You're full of BS, lady. You're just a crackpot.
Is she illegal? She seems like she's illegal.
Yeah, why she's worried about being deported, then maybe she's not here legally.
It sounds to me like she's a candidate to self-deport. In fact, Adriana, if you do that now, I think the white supremacist Trump administration would give you a plane ticket and $1,000.
What are you even doing here if you hate it so much?
Yeah, go away. We don't want you. I'm a white supremacist.
Go to some other country without borders and flags and white people.
And in fact, if you return to Mexico, Ariana, they have a flag and they have a border.
Well, that's why she left.
Well, I don't know where you're going to go to find this.
You're such a confusing person. I don't understand you.
Isn't that something? This is the school board. In St. Paul, you got a school board member who created a race mini riot out of whole cloth.
Chantel Allen?
Yeah. They're none of them are capable of the business of running a school board. None of them have any knowledge of budgets. None of them have any knowledge of anything except their own self-importance. They're all activists. The voters have surrendered everything. You've surrendered the schools, you've surrendered the city council, and you've surrendered the mayors. And in the case of Walz, you've surrendered the governorship. And in the case of the legislature, you've surrendered the legislature. And in case of the state flag, you surrendered the state flag. Now, we didn't get to vote on that, did we?
No. You barely asked about it.
Why don't I tell you about Precision Door? Take a break, and we're going to have
lunch.
We're going to call Jacob Hill, Well, I'll get to it with him on the air. Right now, I want to tell you, before the weather turns terribly cold, get your garage door maintained so you don't have trouble this winter. If you need a new door, call Precision Garage Doors. They have models for every budget. GLers get $100 off a single door, $200 off a double door. A designer comes out, they have the free consultation, you pick it, bing, bang, boom. If you like your current door, but she's acting up, or you want it tuned up before the snow hits, Precision Door is offering a noisy door tune-up special for $149. That's usually $290, and you get a 25-point safety inspection. Book online for a new door appointment at precisiondoormn.com, or call for a new door appointment or a noisy door visit. Call Precision Door at 612-263-6985. Get ahead of that annual maintenance right now before winter wears you down.
You cannot stop him. He'll just make a move. Joe Souchere.
Hofferman Water is here for you, along with Connecticut, to make your water quality just that much better, and it will become the best. And I'm case in point. You know what? I started as a customer of Hofferman Water and Connecticut. Boy, 6 years ago now? Holy cow, it's been that long. And you know what? It's made an amazing difference in the quality of my water, and it will do that for you, and it will save you so much money. No more bottled water at the grocery store. Nope. You're going to get the best pure water from Hofferman Water and Connecticut. But your first step has to be getting on that schedule. So get on that schedule. They'll come out. They'll give you this free water analysis, and then they're going to give you a water score. And then based upon that water score, they're going to give you recommendations and treatment options to upgrade the quality of your water. So you do that by going to HoffermanWater.com. And as long as you're on that website, book your appointment, and you can see every single water treatment system that they have to offer. Or you can also just give them a call directly at 612-895-2440, or once again, visit HoffermanWater.com. Hofferman Water has been proudly serving the state of Minnesota for over 50 years. Please do me a favor and mention that you heard about them on the Garage Logic podcast.
Hi. Is Jacob with us?
I'm going to... no, I was doing an ad, so I'm going to call him right now.
All right.
Right.
Tell us how this played out.
Jacob Hill is the executive director of a group called All of Minneapolis. I've been in contact with Karen Birkland, who is the chair of a group called All of Minneapolis. I've mentioned All of Minneapolis on this show often over the last 2 years, and I have unsuccessfully tried to get them to come on the show. Suddenly it's all clicking. They're more than happy to come on the show. I believe we're going to learn, well, I can tell you exactly what we're going to learn. They're conventional DFLers, if I'm not mistaken. Is Jacob with us? Hello, Jacob. Jacob Hill.
My apologies.
Hi, Jacob.
There we go.
Hey, Joe.
How are you?
I'm doing pretty well. How are you doing?
I've been trying to get you guys on the air for 2 years, and suddenly it's all clicking. Please explain to us All of Minneapolis.
I'm happy to. It's great to be here. I've only listened to your show twice, once yesterday and once when you had Lee Finke on a couple of years ago, and both of them were excellent, so appreciate that. I haven't been involved with All of Minneapolis from the beginning. It started in 2021. I was working on Mayor Fry's reelection campaign, but they were formed to counteract the money and the spending that was coming in favor of defund the police and in favor of the Yes for Minneapolis ballot question, which was the second ballot question on the 2021 Minneapolis municipal ballot. Mm-hmm. There was about $3.8 million that came in against us mm-hmm. for the ballot question, most of it from out of state. All of Minneapolis raised about $2 point something million. Obviously, that ballot question did not pass in Minneapolis. Mayor Fry was reelected, and that's how they formed.
Is All of Minneapolis in favor of Democratic socialists on the ballot?
No, they're not supporting any of the DSA-endorsed candidates. It's funny, I, being the executive director of All of Minneapolis now, and I've just been in that role for the past couple of months, but I started working for Bernie Sanders, and I'm still very sympathetic to a lot of democratic socialist ideas generally, but on the local level, they're extremely toxic and extremely unhelpful. And so, no, All of Minneapolis is opposed to all of the DSA-endorsed candidates for city council, and obviously the very prominent one, Omar Fateh, is running for mayor.
What do you foresee happening to Minneapolis if Omar Fateh wins?
I think there will be a sort of doom spiral of disinvestment from the city that will cause the tax burden to shift even more onto residents and increase their tax burden and increase their incentive to move out of the city, continue to lower property values, which will make the rates continue to go up. And there'll be kind of exodus from the city like you see in St. Louis and some other areas. Minneapolis has kind of, in my opinion, been on the knife's edge. And I think we can go one way and really get crime completely under control as opposed to just, lower than before, higher than pre-pandemic. I think we can get some investment back downtown and some investment back in the city, and then continue to grow on what amazing things has been happening in certain neighborhoods like North Loop and other areas of the city. I think if Omar Fateh is elected, there will be a doom spiral, and you will see investment go to nearby places, Edina, Minnetonka, wherever, and we'll have a real hollowing out of the urban core. I hope I'm wrong, but that's, rent control has very obvious consequences. You can just look at St. Paul and see what happens. And the policies that he's proposing and his lack of support for policing, I think it's a really bad picture of what could happen if he's elected.
You said a moment ago that you're sympathetic to not many. You're sympathetic to some of the democratic socialist ideas, but you said here it's particularly toxic. Why do you think that's particularly toxic here? I happen to agree with you. I find it deplorable. But what is so toxic about it here?
It's not real democratic socialism in the way that I would support it. I support democratic socialism in the ways of increasing state capacity. So the state, in my opinion, should do more to provide health care to people. What we see on the local level is kind of an inversion of that, where we reduce state capacity. We say less money for police and more money for violence interrupter groups, some of them who do great work, but more money for nonprofits who don't have to work all night or aren't accountable to specific metrics. So you're actually taking money out. Democratic Socialists of America endorsed candidates. They did 71 budget amendments to the 2025 Minneapolis budget. Those amendments, in large part, took money away from things like regulatory services who, clean up encampments and do other work. They took money away from police recruiting. They took money away from, the big parts of the city enterprise that are accountable, that have performance metrics, that have responsibilities, that have to work 24 hours, some of them. And they spun it off to, $500,000 for this nonprofit, $300,000 to this nonprofit, $200,000 to this nonprofit. And those aren't accountable. They're not responsible to anybody. So you get kind of a shrinking of the state infrastructure. And that's like when I talk about the inversion of democratic socialism, it just happens that Democratic Socialists of America have endorsed these people because they're sympathetic to other things. But it's not the parts of it that I think are actually could be good, which would be like providing health care for people, providing safety for people. It's the opposite of that.
Does all of Minneapolis have a candidate they're rooting for example, to defeat Chugtai?
Yeah, we endorse an excellent candidate, Lydia Millard, who's the director of the Stevens Square Community Organization down there in South Minneapolis. She's an amazing candidate, progressive, but not toxic like Chugtai, not unproductive, not mean, to be quite frank.
How about Robin Wansley? Do you have someone in mind to replace Robin Wansley?
Yeah, former state legislator Shelley Medore. We've endorsed her. She's an awesome candidate. She's a disability advocate. Another progressive person that I think would also get that ward some much needed advocacy, and somebody who will tell the truth and not just be. I just read Robin Wansley's op-ed in the Star Tribune, and it spends every single paragraph complaining about other powerful interests and how much of a victim she is and all this stuff. And it's like, Robin, you're elected, you're the incumbent, you're part of the city council majority, you're oftentimes part of a veto-proof majority. Why don't you talk about what you want to get done as opposed to complain about everybody else? But
what about Jason Chavez?
We're supporting Dan Orban, who's an independent candidate. Wonderful guy. Has gotten out. Received the Star Tribune endorsement 2 years ago when he ran against Chavez. We've endorsed him.
Elliot Payne.
Yeah, Brian Strawn. He's a green energy business owner over in Northeast. We are recommending him against Elliot Payne.
So you and I might have different political ideologies, but we could I could certainly agree that you guys are at least sane.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Well, I don't consider Wansley and Chugtai and Chavez sane is not the correct word, but they're ideologically the wrong fit for the city of Minneapolis, in my estimation.
There's no Democratic or Republican way to fill a pothole.
Right.
There shouldn't be a Democratic or Republican way to police.
Right.
Those are the important works of the city enterprise, not providing social services that are provided by other levels of government. It's to do the things that only a city can do. Mm-hmm. And I'm sure Mayor Fry is more progressive than you guys are.
Oh, hell yes.
From the two times I've listened, I think that's true.
Right.
But he also understands what a city enterprise does and shouldn't do. We shouldn't have our police arresting federal law enforcement agents.
No, we should not. It's ridiculous.
Would be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And I find that the Minneapolis for the Many, and if you don't mind, there was a new PAC that formed for Omar Fateh specifically called the Working People's Project.
Okay.
They have 7 donors who have given $210,000. Their report just came out today. Mm-hmm. So the people supporting the Working People's Project are a guy in California who gave $50,000, a guy in New York who gave $40,000, a guy in Washington, D.C. who gave $50,000, a guy in Chicago who gave $25,000, Bassem Sabri, who went to jail for bribing a council member, who gave $15,000, a guy in New York who gave $25,000, and the Minneapolis Teachers Union who gave $5,000.
What do those donors want? What life do they foresee? Why? What drives them?
I don't know. I'm executive director of a PAC that raises money, and our donors want the city to thrive. And except for 2 people who switched their address to Florida, every single one of our donors live in Minnesota. Mm-hmm. But I don't know what business somebody in Redwood City, California, has giving a Minneapolis mayor candidate who's going to be the mayor, if he wins, the mayor of Minneapolis, and be engaged in Minneapolis municipal business. I don't know what incentive he has to give $50,000 to a PAC supporting that person.
How come we're not getting any of that reinvestment from Kenya, by the way, where all our money was sent with the fraud?
I don't know. I have no idea.
Do you like Fry's chances? Do you know something we don't? Is there a reason to hope here?
Our numbers have been really consistent, and we've done a poll, and we've done polling in each of the wards that we're targeting in the council race, and we've done continued calls. And Fry is winning the first choice race by 10 to 15 points in all of them. He's in the low 40s, and Fateh is in the high 20s. The other 2 candidates who have, support, Dwayne Davis and Jazz Hampton, who are to the left of Fry, but not quite as crazy as Fateh. Mm-hmm. They have about, 10 or 5% typically. Mm-hmm. I don't think they're going to roll up via ranked choice voting. I don't think they're going to roll up neatly to Fateh. So I would give, Mayor Fry a 80% chance or so at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a question of turnout. It is a question of the electorate. It is a question of just making sure that every single person is aware of this election and realizes how critical it is to the future of Minneapolis. And as goes Minneapolis, goes this region. So
now that we've broken the ice, maybe we'll talk again. I'd love to come up, maybe even before the election. Would that be okay?
That would be great. I had a lot of fun. I would like to get into the nitty-gritty more. So that would be great.
I know today was on short notice. I'll do some more homework. And yeah, Kenny, you have a question for Jacob.
I do. You were involved in Fry's run in the past, and my question is about the advisability of Fateh talking about arresting feds. Do you think that actually resonates with enough voters to make a difference? Because to me, that seems like the dumbest thing you could possibly say while running for office.
There are people that are looking at what's happening in Chicago and looking at what can happen here, and they're, in my opinion, justifiably saying, what can we possibly do? And I know you guys may not agree, but, I think there are some bad things going on at the federal level that are rightfully making good people concerned. And I think it's up to our leaders, which includes Mayor Fry, includes Omar Fateh, to have the discretion to say this would make things worse or this would not make things worse. There were people justifiably upset, as I was, after the murder of George Floyd. And if you want to call it the killing of George Floyd, whatever. But after George Floyd was, in my opinion, murdered, there was justifiable anger. And Mayor Fry stood up and said, when there were 2,000 people at his door, defunding the police would make things worse. It's not the right way to go here.
Right.
And it's on our leaders to say, whether you're Democrat, Republican, Independent, or something else, even though this idea is coming from our side, it's a bad idea. And Joe, you did a great job of it yesterday. Even though, Donald Trump is talking about how tearing down East Wing of the White House and building a ballroom is a great idea, even though that idea is coming from your side, it's a bad idea.
Mm-hmm.
And Mayor Fry, in the most critical moments, has been able to do that. During the June 3rd raid, which was part of a federal drug investigation, when Jason Chavez came out and immediately said MPD and HTSO, Henry County Sheriff's Office, lied. This is an immigration thing, blah, 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 blah. It was leaders, Mayor Fry, Chief O'Hara, Sheriff Witt, who stood up and said, no, this was what this was. Right. It was not what you're saying it was. And you need to not go in and interfere in a criminal investigation. That's what when Mayor Fry says that to Omar Fateh or to anybody who says you need to go arrest federal agents, that's what leaders should do on both sides. When somebody on the extreme of our side has a bad idea, we should shoot it down, because at some point, somebody is responsible for making these decisions. Mayor Fry is the leader of the city. Omar Fateh is running to be the leader of the city. And I think only one of them has shown the leadership to say, this is goofy, this is crazy, this would make things worse, and this would get a lot of people killed.
Right. I agree with you. It's a great answer. We're going to remain in touch, sir.
All right. Thank you very much for having me.
Thanks, Jacob. All right. Jacob Hill is the executive director of All of Minneapolis. They're the sane socialists.
Right.
Well, there is such a thing.
We're learning.
This portion, which would normally be John Haidt's newscast, was brought to us by our friends at North American Banking Company.
All right. Oh, you want one of these things, huh?
Truth, justice, and the Souchere.
I don't know. I can tell you why it took so long to talk to those All of Minneapolis people. They probably thought I was a nutcase, just like I think,
Partially.
I'm
Well, they wouldn't be
I'm
wrong.
like them. I'm a sane nutcase.
Yeah. Yes.
But doesn't that go to show you about what we've been saying from a political landscape, that there's the 10% on the extreme left, 10% on the extreme right, and pretty much the 80 of us in the middle don't really disagree too much about stuff.
Right.
Only because they come to us all the way from a boat.
Did you do that math yourself?
I did.
Floating around on the Western Mediterranean from the Traveling Lyman's, worldwidewaftage.com. It was on this day,
October 28th.
in 1834, Henry Sibley arrived at St. Peter's in Mendota, completing a journey on horseback from Prairie du Chien. Big deal. On this day,
October 28th.
In 1919, Congress passed the Volstead Act, setting in motion the prohibition of liquor sales nationwide. Andrew J. Volstead, congressman from Minnesota, introduced the bill. It was on this day.
On October 28th.
In 1949, President Henry S. Truman appointed Eugenie Moore Anderson of Red Wing as ambassador to Denmark.
Wow.
Making her the United States' first woman ambassador.
Okay.
So even back then, it was important to be the first.
Yeah.
On this day,
October 28th.
In 1990, popular candidate John Grunseth withdrew from the gubernatorial race. Grunseth had been affected by incumbent Rudy Perpich's mudslinging campaign, but his candidacy was ultimately destroyed by accusations of sexual impropriety. I think he was swimming in the pool with some younger people.
Skinny dipping.
I don't even know if it was skinny dipping.
Night putting.
Grunseth's withdrawal opened the door for Arnie Carlson, state auditor, to run on the Republican ticket. Public disgust with the entire campaign helped Carlson win, and he proved to be a popular governor. On this day in sports disappointment history.
Can't be that disappointing.
And he was so fiscally responsible, Governor Carlson.
He was popular.
That when he left the government, he said, no more governor pension. I'll take the last one.
Who, Arnie said that?
Yes.
On this day in sports disappointment history.
October 28th.
The North Stars traded Bobby Smith.
Ooh, I remember
in
that.
1983.
Did he end up coming back?
I don't think so.
I don't think he did. He went to Montreal.
On this day,
October 28th.
In 1984, Archie Manning made his first start for the Vikes. He was sacked 11 times by the Bears.
Do you remember the great quote?
No.
It was, I forget if it was Dan Hampton or Steve McMichael, because we had him on when I was doing the show with Judd, and he said, Archie, it's not personal, it's just business. Well, they basically knocked the crap out of him.
On this day,
on October 28th.
In 1989, the Gophers blew a 31-point lead against Ohio State.
Oof.
And finally, on this day,
October 28th.
In the year 2000, the Gophers blew a 21-point lead against Northwestern and lost on a Hail Mary pass.
I remember that one.
So those were some disappointments.
Yeah.
That's and wherever you look in Minnesota, you can find sports disappointment. Did the Timberwolves win last night?
They did not.
Okay, there's another one.
They lost to the Denvers.
All right, thank you, GL.
Didn't we win the World Series on this day? 91?
It was yesterday.
It was yesterday. That's right. Okay. Hey, do us a favor, if you haven't done so already. Hit the subscribe button on the Garage Logic YouTube channel. That's right, Garage Logic is a YouTube channel, and when it doesn't freeze up, it's there for you to watch the show each and every single day, starting right around noon, and there's also full segments. There's video shorts, there's behind-the-scenes footage. It's all there for you. An extended library. Just search Garage Logic, 2 words, on YouTube. And you can also search for us on all of our social media channels, which includes Facebook, Instagram, and X. And you can also sign up for the Daily Logician. That's an email that comes right to your inbox each and every single day. And it includes the most recent episode of the podcast. Find out more and sign up today at garagelogic.com. It is time once again to check in with our guy, Mr. Money Talk. Josh Arnold is with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, oh boy, now is the time for you to do the same. So do not delay. Do exactly what I did and pick up that phone and dial 952-925-5608. That number once again is 952-925-5608. When you call that number, you're going to get Josh. And he is there for you for that free, yes, I use the word free, 48-minute financial consultation. consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And he will always give you the straight talk. He will never give you the sugar-coated advice. And he is on the line with us once again right here in Garage Logic. And boy, Josh, a lot to get to today. UPS has surprises in store. Trump is in Asia. Microsoft getting into the AI game. And did you just tell me this? Amazon is laying off 4% of their entire workforce.
Well, let's just start with the negative news, and that is unemployment numbers could be going up, and Amazon is just the latest of companies to announce some significant layoffs. Some of these layoffs are part of restructuring efforts. In Amazon's case, they have talked about cutting out a lot of middle management positions, and that has been the talk for several years. But Amazon is definitely stepping up the pace to shrink the workforce and get things done faster without several layers of management. Amazon today announced 14,000 people are going to be cut from their corporate workforce, and they could double that over the course of 2026. These will be the largest layoffs ever in the history of Amazon. Hopefully that will make Amazon even more efficient than it already is. Amazon and many of the companies that are announcing layoffs, I believe, are part of the utilization of artificial intelligence. And it's not just Amazon that is utilizing, we'll say, artificial intelligence to increase productivity. There are many companies that are using this. And as we have been saying for quite some time, this is, to me, the Internet 3.0, and it is currently a pretty big theme within the market. Is the AI theme a bubble? At this point, I don't think so. Are all companies going to benefit? Again, I don't think so. I think the companies that will benefit the most are the companies still with the most amount of money available, and as they have the most money to succeed and they still have the biggest mind share. We'll see a little bit more of the impact of AI over the next several days, and particularly tomorrow and Thursday when Microsoft, Meta, Google or Alphabet, Apple, and Amazon report their earnings. Of the, we'll say, Mag 7, Apple and Amazon are trailing in returns year to date, but they could play a little bit of catch up. That says catch up as opposed to Heinz ketchup, Hunt's catsup. That was a little bit of a joke there. In addition, to the focus on AI, and when you talk to Amazon, that will be a focus pretty strongly on Thursday as analysts glue in on Amazon Web Services and Amazon Web Services growth. Is it going to be above 17%, 18%, or will it get to 20%? Anything north of 20% could boost the stock. Anything below 17% growth in AWS could sink the stock a little bit. And of course, guidance is going to be a key. In addition to Amazon announcing layoffs, UPS did do better than expected, but they have been cutting significantly on their employee headcount. We also have seen, not more than a week ago, Target announcing significant layoffs. Applied Materials announced layoffs. Meta has announced some significant. Microsoft has announced layoffs. And these are just a few of, several Fortune 500 companies that have been cutting back on headcount, some due to the economy, of course, or a slowing business. Some do, and I think a large part of this has to do with the impact of artificial intelligence and trying to, we'll say, right-size their company. And it comes to artificial intelligence. Meta, whose stock has been on a tear the past few years and has been huge in poaching top AI talent from its competitors, including my favorite Apple. They did also announce cuts in their AI division, which I think came as a pretty big surprise. We'll see what Meta does when they announce their numbers tomorrow. Microsoft also announces tomorrow, but they announced today some better deal that they'll generate Azure, Microsoft's cloud, additional focus with ChatGPT owned by OpenAI. This company, OpenAI, which is private, bulk of it at this point is a non-profit, but it does own for-profit companies. OpenAI has been a huge leader in artificial intelligence, and companies that are hooked to that have seen their stock prices go up. Not just Microsoft's, which started up a few years ago, but today PayPal made an announcement that they are being chosen or work to deal with OpenAI to be the initial payment system for OpenAI's marketplace. That plus better than expected earnings and upped guidance boosted PayPal's stock. PayPal, by the way, also owns Venmo. And then, last but not least, we can't forget, we'll say the traveling salesman, President Trump, who is right now in Japan working on trade agreements with Japan, and he's completed several trade deals already in Southeast Asia over the weekend. His Secretary of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, has mapped out a framework for a better trade relations with China. And this will be, we'll say, top of the market on Thursday when Trump and Xi meet to discuss rare earth, soybeans, and TikTok.
Excellent advice and information as always, Mr. Money Talk. You heard him, GLers. Now is the time for you to pick up the phone and make the call for that free 48-minute financial consultation with absolutely zero obligation. And you do that just like I did by dialing 952-925-5608, where you always get straight talk and never, ever sugar-coated advice. Josh, once again, thank you so much for the time and the chat. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you again tomorrow.
Chris, we'll look forward to it.
Talk to you then.
Investment services offered by Josh Arnold Investment Consultant LLC, a security investment advisor. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. All investments involve risk. All comments and opinions are Josh Arnold's and do not constitute investment advice.
Chris Reavers is a paid endorser.